Test, clear.
Yep, good.
Okay, good evening. Welcome, everybody, to the May 24th, 2021 regular business meeting of the Board of School Trustees with a start time 6 o'clock. If you may all rise, we're going to ask Mr. Hoffman to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, to start this evening, we have item 2, Board of School Trustees Resolution of Commendation Awards. We have 2.01, the 2020-2021 MacArthur Math Bowl team for winning second place in the state in the red class at the elementary math bowl competition. I'm going to go ahead and read through the names. We have the team Ivy Anderson, Cody Ball, Landon Bishop, Colin Brown, Madison Duffy, Christian Farmer, Caleb Freilich, Xavier Garcia, Quinn Johnson, Landon, we'll get this straight when we actually hand out the award, Laban Good? Laban Good. Caden Meese, Piper Parsnot, Killen second, Leah Sterick. Kyan, thank you. Thank you. Leah Sterick, Connor Wolf, and the coaches Joe Bisick and Lauren Briner. 2.02, we have the Crown Point High School 2020-2021 Academic Super Bowl team for being named state champions in the Fine Arts category and third place in the Social Studies and interdisciplinary categories in Class 1 at the Indiana State Academic Super Bowl competition. The Fine Arts team was Maya Emmels and Greg, Abby Nemagata, and the Social Studies team was Daniel Sabincic, Jeremy Kwasny, an interdisciplinary team, Jason Tung, Daniel Sabincic, Abby Nemagata, Maya Amos, and the coaches, Jason McGee and John Lambercy. Item 2.03, we have our 2021-2022 Teacher of the Year, Administrator of the Year, and Employee of the Year award presentations to Jeremy Walker, Teacher of the Year at secondary level, Jennifer Powlett, Teacher of the Year elementary level, Dana Toriano, Employee of the Year, and the Teacher of the Year finalists were Jill Wagner from Colonel Wheeler, Scott Reed Taft, Sarah Fritz Eisenhower, Daniel Mulder, Lake Street, Melissa Donaldson, MacArthur, Katie Rice from Solon Robinson, Amanda Kasiba, Winfield, Nicole Sokolowski, Jerry Ross, Jamie Edgington, Learning Center, and the Employee of the Year finalists, Chantel Pierce from the Administrative Service Center, and Mike Carnahan, MacArthur. Do we have a motion to approve the commendations as presented?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Angel and second by Mr. Babjak. Any questions or comments before vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries 5-0. And now we'll begin presenting the commendations.
Just quickly, before we begin the presentation of the commendations, for those of the Teachers of the Year and Employees of the Year who are here, we ask you that you stick around, wait until we get through all of the others. We're going to get pictures with them. So if you can remain in the audience or go back to the audience seats once your name is called and you're given your certificate or commendation. And then once we get through everybody else, then we'll have you guys step out and do the pictures for those awards or commendations as well. All right, thank you.
Let's get started. You got the green light, looks like we're good to go. Thumbs up, we good? I hope so. All right, excellent. It's my honor tonight to give the award to the 2020-2021 MacArthur Math Bowl team for winning second place in the state in the red class at the elementary math bowl competition. Coaches, would you guys like to join me up front? Coaches Joe Bisick and Lauren Briner. Okay. Then I'll read the names. All right, first we have Ivy Anderson. Cody Ball. Didn't read it. Landon Bishop. Colin Brown. Madison Duffy. Christian Farmer. Caleb Freilich. Xavier Garcia. Quinn Johnson. Landon Liebengood. Caden Meese. Piper Parzignot. Kyan Sechin. And Leah Starrick. You have one more? Okay. So let me actually read the resolution of commendation. The Crown Point School Board of School Trustees is honored to commend the 2020-2021 Douglas MacArthur Elementary Math Bowl team for meritorious achievement. Be it hereby resolved that the School Board of Trustees for the Crown Point Community School Corporation wishes to express sincere congratulations to the 2020-2021 Douglas MacArthur Elementary Math Bowl team for winning second place in the state in the red class at the Elementary Math Bowl competition. The School Board of Trustees publicly recognizes this achievement and renders it permanently to its minutes to be preserved for public posterity, dated this 24th day of May, 2021. Congratulations. I'd like to give the coaches an opportunity to say something about your team and that's all.
Have the kids turn around and show the audience their T-shirts. This is pretty cool up here. We got Potato God, Axe, Pumpkin Pie. Check out those names. What is the story behind the T-shirts?
They get to pick their own nickname. They design the front, so whatever they come up with, so that we let them collaborate for a little while, look at inspiration from online and things like that. And they wanted to have a calculator this year, and so we have a calculator with fun nicknames on the back. Okay. All right, turn around.
Together?
Then we'll squish. Small. Here. Small. I have to be able to take your picture right there.
I think so.
Congratulations, MacArthur. Thank you, parents. After we're able to settle down, Mr. Smith will read the commendation for the academic spell bowl team.
We'll give everybody a minute to get situated. All right, very good. Well, I have the honor of presenting our academic Super Bowl team for the Crown Point High School, their commendation this evening. And our coaches, Jason McGee and John Limbersi, here today. Excellent. Come on in, coaches. Thank you. Congratulations, coaches, on your state championship and third place finish in the social studies and interdisciplinary categories. We'll announce the name of the students and give them their accommodation award, and then we'll read the accommodation, okay? So, Super Bowl competition, the fine arts team, Maya Melcy, is that correct? Anna Gregg. Congratulations, Anna. Well done. Abi Nimagata. For the social studies team, Daniel Sabincic. Congratulations. And Jeremy Kwasny. Interdisciplinary team, Jason Tung. Other individuals on that interdisciplinary team, Daniel Sabincic again. Well done. Abi Nimagata. And Maya Amelsi again. Coach, I need the accommodation back. I forgot to, I gave it to you. I need it back so I can read it. Let me read the accommodation. Appreciate it. The Crown Point Board of School Trustees is honored to commend the team for meritorious achievement. Be it hereby resolved that the Board of School Trustees for the Crown Point Community School Corporations wishes to express sincere congratulations to the members of the 2021 Crown Point High School Super Bowl team for receiving third place in social studies category and at the 2021 Indiana Academic Super Bowl State Finals, and first place for being named state championships in the fine arts categories. The Board of School Trustees publicly recognizes this achievement and renders it permanently to its minutes to be preserved for public posterity this 24th day of May 2021. Congratulations again, guys. Well done. Coaches, would you like to make a comment or speak about this team? Well, we certainly like state championships around here, so, and. Well, fantastic. We know that these honors don't come without much hard work, so thank you for representing Crown Point School District so well, and your team, your coaches, and your family so well. We really appreciate it. Let's give it up to them one more time.
This is exciting. I have the, I'm gonna pull this down. I have the honor of announcing and reading commendations for our, Teacher of the Year, our Administrator of the Year, and Employer of the Year. And I know that with just Teacher Appreciation Week a couple weeks ago, and reading what we got as board members, that Educator, there's some familiar faces out there. I just caught a smile to say hello. Educator Appreciation Week, and as a corporation, everything that all of you do in all of the different roles that you play is so much appreciated. So this is quite an honor for the individuals that have been voted on by their peers this evening to receive this award. So do we have room all the way back to Mr. Walker? That doesn't look like there's too many of you. Would you be able to fit inside, or could you come out? You guys go in. You could come up in front of the board members. Try to space if you'd like. Yeah. Well, we read through some of it earlier, but I'm gonna go through it again. So this evening we have the 2021 and 2022 Teacher of the Year, Administrator of the Year, and Employee of the Year award presentations. We're gonna begin with Mr. Walker, the Teacher of the Year at the secondary level. We could go through everybody individually, but Mr. Gianfermi, would you mind taking an opportunity to say a few words?
I will, for
Mr.
sure.
Walker.
Mr. Marchant couldn't make it, so being Director of Secondary Ed and working with Mr. Walker for the last 15 years, he's a special educator for sure, in the fact that not only does he just motivate kids to do things, fantastic things, Latin Club state championships year after year after year, but he also motivates adults and gets them through some really tough work. And in no way was that ever more abundant than this year, when he really led a lot of our secondary folks in jumping into e-learning and blended learning and just being as creative as they could to kind of keep the education going when we were hit with a pandemic that nobody was prepared for. So beyond everything that Mr. Walker has done for Crown Point schools over the course of many, many, many years, this year was just one of those years that he really picked up his game when we thought, how can he do that? and he did. So all of the candidates we had at the secondary level were amazing. It's really, really hard to pick, but Mr. Walker, you are more than deserving of this award and honor, for sure.
Also this evening, we have our Teacher of the Year at the elementary level, Ms. Jennifer Pollitt. And Mr. Chiquino, you're here this evening. Would you mind sharing a couple words for us? Please, please.
Just got here from my daughter's preschool graduation, but it's my pleasure to talk about Jennifer Pollitt any chance I could. But Jen, I've known her for 5 years, since I got to Timothy Ball. She was a kindergarten teacher, our kindergarten team leader, and the first day I met her, she said, "Nick, welcome to T-Ball. I'm ready for a new challenge. Please move me to 3rd grade." And I did. We moved some people around that year, and Jen rose to the challenge in 3rd grade. And teaching kindergarten and 3rd grade, both, I think every grade has its own challenges, but those 2 grade levels come with unique challenges. And Jennifer is just a fantastic teacher, in every way. She connects with her kids, most importantly, great relationships with her students, knows what they need on a social, emotional level and academic level, a great communicator with parents. She's willing to drop whatever she's doing to help a teammate or a colleague at Timothy Ball, and just couldn't ask for a better leader or a better teacher. So congratulations, Jennifer. Proud to work with you and very proud of this accomplishment for you.
I wanted to give Mr. Gianfermi and Shakeen an opportunity to say a few words for Mr. Walker. And I say Pollitt? It's Pollitt. But now I'm going to read the commendation awards, and while some of you are in the hallway, I'll read the award for everybody else that we have this evening. And then I think we're going to have a couple special moments when we're finished. Resolution of commendation. The Crown Point Board of School Trustees is honored to commend these individuals this evening as exemplary employees, administrators, teachers, secondary level, elementary level. Be it hereby resolved that the Board of School Trustees for the Crown Point Community School Corporation wishes to express sincere congratulations to these individuals for being named the 2021-2022 Employees Teachers of the Year. The Board of School Trustees publicly recognizes this achievement and renders it permanently to its minutes to be preserved for public posterity dated this date, the 24th day of May, 2021. So I will go through the list. We have Dana, and please help Toriano, okay? Dana? I want to give with it what you were acknowledged for, obviously. And these are a Teacher of the Year finalist, Jill Wagner. A Teacher finalist, Scott Reed at Taft. And we had Sarah Fritz from Eisenhower. Daniel Mulder, Lake Street. Melissa Donaldson, MacArthur. Congratulations, Melissa. Katie Rice, Sol Robinson. Melissa, did you get the right? Okay. And Nicole, is it Sokolowski? Is Nicole here? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lindsley. And we have Jamie Edgington from the Learning Center. And our Employer of the Year finalists were Chantel Pierce from Administrative Service Center. Ms. Pearson. And Mr. Carnahan. I don't believe he's here yet, right? Oh, I want to hand it over to Dr. Terrell. I know we're going to want to get some pictures of all the finalists and with also the winners this evening. Dr. Terrell,
Thank you. Before we go on, I just want to, we had others give just a little blurb, if you will, about the Teachers of the Year. Artie, would you mind with our Employee of the Year, if you could kind of just give us a little bit of information, background on that individual?
I'd love to.
We're glad that Dana is here with us this evening.
Hi, Dana. How are you? Feeling really good up there right now, aren't you? You should. Dana Toriano is our health coordinator. She's our leader of all of our nurses. I think it goes without saying how important that role has been here in the last just over a year. We spent countless hours planning, but then Dana was literally the lead person to launch and make sure that, you know, safety protocols were followed. Now, keep in mind, in addition to leading a nursing staff that is in charge of clinics for day-to-day operations for school functions, which is, you know, millions of Band-Aids and cuts and scrapes and all the things that go on with schooling. So Dana, we are so proud of you and so happy for you and so thankful for who you are and what you've given to the Crown Point Community School Corporation. So love you, all right? And thanks so much for all that you do for us.
And then we also missed Amanda Kusaba?
Kasiba, yeah.
From Winfield. We appreciate you being here as well. So this year, we have a couple of additional awards. We are now going to begin recognizing an Administrator of the Year and look at our administrators as well and recognize them for the hard work that they put in. And this individual tonight was brought here on misinformation as to her reasoning for being here this evening. But our first Administrator of the Year is Karen Toth. Karen? Artie, you want to, I can tell you about Karen and our conversations that take place at 3:30 to 4:30 in the morning on weather-related days, but I'm going to ask Artie if he would just talk. She was brought here thinking that she was going to give you all a report on our electric bus, which we are getting an electric bus, and it's going to be really cool, but we don't want to hear about an electric bus.
Look at,
We want to celebrate you. So, Artie?
Yeah. I'm going to pay for this one, ladies and gentlemen. So, but it's worth it. It's so worth it. Karen, wow. I know. I'm going to have to say some things right now. Okay. And I had to write them down so I could stay focused. But Karen started as a substitute teacher in 1996 with the Crown Point Community School Corporation. From there, guidance secretary in 1998, principal secretary in 2001, and eventually the director of transportation. Karen Toth has viewed the operations of the school corporation through a unique set of lenses. While we can't help but celebrate Karen's history as she prepares to retire, we're honoring her as Administrator of the Year for the efforts she has put forth over the past 12 to 14 months. A year filled with countless adjustments and changes, while still supporting the needs of our homeless, sheltered, fosters, students needing rides to school from a myriad of locations. All done with a calm voice, professional demeanor, when a certain sort of chaos was all around her this year. I've had the great pleasure of working with Karen Toth in all of her prior environments, and I must say she has been her genuine self through it all. Congratulations and a heartfelt thank you, Karen Toth, our Administrator of the Year.
Join us right here. Our last award that we want to give out this year is a new award that may be handed out annually. It may be every couple of years, just depending on the situations that arise as we go forward with it. And this year, this award is going to be called the Spirit of a Bulldog Award. And because it is the inaugural award, This is going to bear the name of the individual who is receiving this award. And we'll give you more of that information as we go through this time. But this award is going to be the Mike Carnahan Spirit of a Bulldog Award. And Mike, I'll read this before I present it to you in the middle, and I want you to know that you are a hard individual to convince to get to things like this, much like somebody else we all know and love. Resolution of Commendation. The Crown Point Board of School Trustees is honored to commend Mike Carnahan for meritorious achievement. Be it resolved by the Board of School Trustees for the Crown Point Community School Corporation wishes to express sincere congratulations to Mike Carnahan, Douglas MacArthur Head Custodian, as the first recipient of the Mike Carnahan Spirit of a Bulldog Award for exemplary display of pride, determination, perseverance, kindness, reliability, humility, and selflessness. The Board of School Trustees publicly recognizes this achievement and renders it permanently to its minutes to be preserved for public posterity, dated this 24th day of May 2021. Mike?
Mike. Surprise, huh? Well, I have to share the story. So I've had the great fortune of being on the interview committee for all of these wonderful individuals in front of us. And I must say that it was such an enjoyable experience listening to everybody's commentary. We've got phenomenal educators, employees in Crown Point Community School Corporation. And just so thank you. But Mike, you know, during your interview, something was happening. You know, Katie Dowling was on the interview panel with myself, along with last year's winner for Employee of the Year, and that was Sherry Tokley, and we just felt this thing happening while we were talking to you. And words and stories were coming out of you. You know, dare I go back and say, you know, hired April 11th, 1975 as a Crown Point High School custodian, appointed July 11th, 1995 as the head custodian of MacArthur Elementary School, Safety Award, CPI certification, Carnahan's Helpers, and you have also been an Employee of the Year. All the exemplary examples of attributes, you know, Dr. Terrell so eloquently stated. I could tell you that the impact on students and staff that Mike has generated transcends generations, not to mention your job description. The stories you were telling were concrete examples of how you impacted not only those in your building, but those in the entire school corporation over years, Mike. This is truly, truly special. Quotes from your interview: I wanted to try to be a teacher, but in another way. I wanted to let them know there was someone who cares. I always wanted to make sure teachers know they can depend on me for anything, anytime. Anybody that knows you knows that these statements are absolutely 100% true. Do you want to throw anything in here? Because I can say that you've advocated for the underdog. You've gone out of your way to make connections with students that maybe don't have the advantages that other individuals have, and you've made a point to make sure they knew someone was there that cares for them, that loves them, that they could depend on. We just cannot thank you enough. And this particular award, it needs your name on it because of all that you've done for the Crown Point Community School Corporation. So, thanks, Mike.
Thank you. And I should mention all of you, the Teachers of the Year, Employees of the Year, Administrator of the Year, Mike, we will have your trophies for you in the year of COVID shortages. We were not able to get those by tonight. So we will have those for you. and we'll present those to you at another time as well. But before we let you escape from here, we need to do a couple of things. One is a group photo of all of you, and then if we could get a group photo of the actual Teachers of the Year, Employee of the Year, Administrator of the Year. So Brooke, I'm going to turn it over to you for directions, and please follow Brooke's.
Gonna give,
David, we have lost the room, and we literally have lost the room. Not long.
just letting everybody settle in. We'll get right back to it here in a second. Okay, item. Back to serious. Item 3 is the public hearing. 3.01, suspend the regular meeting and open for public hearing. Do I have a motion to suspend the regular meeting and
So
open
moved.
the public hearing?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Hoffman and second by Mr. Angel. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And we have patron comments for the public hearing. We don't have any this evening unless anybody's come in late, but nothing is on the sign-up sheet. Nobody's out there. 3.03 is the 2021 capital project bonds. Ms. Dowling.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, this is the hearing on the lease that required a 30-day advertisement. The school corporation is funding the 2021 capital projects through a lease financing. It's as it has done with in the past with other construction renovation projects such as Crown Point High School and Wheeler Middle School. Lease financing is used by school corporations across the state of Indiana in order to borrow for renovation and construction. The building corporation, which Mr. Bates, Mr. Geisen, and Ms. Kadich are members of, will purchase all or a portion of the existing Staff Middle School, MacArthur Elementary, and real estate on which the new Taft Middle School is on, as well as Lake Street. And essentially, the building corporation will purchase those from us, and in return, we will sell the bonds that will be the revenue that we're using for the construction projects. Also a part of this are, sorry, I'm looking, making sure. Also part of this are resolutions, several resolutions related to this. If you remember from last month, we started the process with reauthorizing the building corporation, approving the hearing, the lease hearing being advertised, et cetera. The next step today is Resolution 800, which is authorizing execution of the physical lease agreement between the Crown Point Community School Corporation and the Crown Point Community Building Corporation. Resolution 801 is a resolution assigning the construction bids and contracts to the building corporation once they are received. Resolution 802 is a resolution approving the fourth supplement to the master continuing disclosure undertaking and issuing of bonds. Baker Tilly files that for us annually for continuing disclosure to legal compliance piece. Resolution 803 is approving amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures, which essentially appoints me as the person responsible for making sure that those are completed. And Resolution 804 is approving issuance of bond anticipation notes or bands if they're necessary. I would tell you, as you're aware, we are funding the early stages of the project out of cash on hand. That will be reimbursed once we sell the bonds, but for every, Dr. Terrell, do you want to take this part? For every 30 days that we're able to delay issuing the bonds, we save $750,000 in capitalized interest. So this is, benefit to everybody. So, Mr. President, that ends my comments. I would ask for an approval of resolutions 800 through 804.
Move to approve each of those resolutions and waive the reading.
Second.
That's moved by Mr. Hoffman and second by Mr. Badger. Any questions or comments from Ms. Dowling on this topic? Not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Ms.
you.
Dowling. Sorry I wasn't mic'd for that, if that mattered. 3.04. We have a motion to close the public hearing and resume regular business meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Angel and second by Mr. Hoffman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now we'll resume the regular business meeting. We'll resume with item 4, patrons' comments. We don't have anybody registered to comment this evening. So we'll go to item 5. We have the consent agenda for Dr. Terrell.
For your consideration this evening, we have 5.01, which is the minutes from the different meetings that are listed. 5.02, the biomed purchase. 5.03, the Wheeler Middle School Robotics Club purchase. 5.04, the apply for the grant for the Challenger Center, from the Challenger Center. And then also 5.05, our 2021-2022 school year meal prices. 5.06 is our personnel agenda, and then 5.07, the voucher registered checks as listed.
Thank you, Dr. Terrell. You've heard the consent agenda as presented. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hoffman and second by Mr. Smith. Have any questions or comments for Dr. Terrell on the consent agenda? Not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Dr. Terrell. We'll go to action items. This evening we have 6.01 textbook and resource adoption for the 2021-22. Mr. Hardman.
Thank you, Mr. Warning. The next three items that are on the action items kind of are tied together. First of all, we have adoption materials, and then we're going to look at textbook rental and supply fees for next year, and we're going to follow that up with disposal of obsolete materials also. 6.001 is looking at textbook and resource adoption. In the list that is provided to you, we have materials for multiple disciplines, including our core subjects and also our subjects that would not be in the core area, that would be in the areas of band, choir, and orchestra, would be in the areas of info technology, as well as Project Lead the Way, and also they're varied from high school, middle school, and the elementary school. So this evening, seeking your approval to adopt these materials for the Crown Point Community School Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon. You heard a recommendation to approve the textbook or resource adoption for use beginning in the 2021-2022 school year. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Angel and second by Mr. Babjak. Do we have any questions or comments from Mr. Harmon? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And again, Mr. Harmon, on 6.02, we have textbook rental and supply fees for the 2021-22 school year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warning. This evening, we're going to bring to you textbook rental and supply fees. These are, middle school is complete. So when we take a look at that, you'll see that it's complete. You'll get an idea what the TBR is. Because we are still working on quotes from some of the companies, you'll see in the high school part of the TBR, there's some things highlighted, and we're waiting on quotes, and we'll bring that to you in June, at your June meeting. And the same thing with the new adoption of some of the elementary materials, which you'll see on the previous list. You're going to see some blanks right now in that. But to move forward in the purchase of materials with quoted prices that we have, you can see in the elementary that there are prices for, or quotes for the resources, the materials in that area. So this evening, seeking your approval of what's presented to you, and then knowing that there will be additions coming to you at the June board meeting to complete the process, as well as our exceptional learners textbook rental and supply fees. Seeking your approval on what is presented to you this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon. Excuse me. Heard recommendation to approve the current textbook rental and supply fees for the 2021-2022 elementary, middle, and high school. We have a motion to approve.
Move to approve as requested.
Moved by Mr. Hoffman and second by Mr. Angel. Any questions or comments?
Jim, because our people on the live feed don't get to see these numbers, can you briefly summarize how these fees compare to prior years?
Actually, at the elementary level, when we do finish this off, I expect it to be very comparable. We've maintained around a $200 fee, so I think we're going to see very comparable amount there. If you look at the middle school component of this, and you compare 2021-22 to this current year, we're right at the amount. And at the high school level, so difficult to predict, because depending on the courses that students take, it impacts their fees, and so it's very difficult and challenging. Although we know that resources they do cost more as we continue, as we adopt each and every year. So we can expect that we possibly would see an increase in course fees at the high school or overall for students.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Harmon? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 5-0. And we're moving to 6.03, the disposition of obsolete curricular materials. Mr. Harmon.
Thank you again. With the adoption of new materials, therefore, there's materials to be disposed of that were adopted that these are replacing. And so there is a list of elementary, middle, and I believe there might be a few high school items that are on the disposal list. Normally what we'll do with those is we do offer those to students first to take, and then if there is opportunity to donate the materials, or we would dispose of those materials appropriately. Also would note that if there are any fees for disposal, we have included that as part of the recommendation for you. So seeking your approval this evening to dispose of the materials that are in the list.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon. You've heard the recommendation to approve to dispose of the curricular materials listed in the most economical manner that best meets the requirements of the, I see 5-, 22-22 and IC 20-26-5-4, and Administrative Guidelines 7310, which may include sale, donation, or deeming it worthless and disposing of it as a normal refuse. Do we have a motion to approve?
Second?
Moved by Mr. Smith and second by Mr. Hoffman. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Harmon? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
And thank you again, Mr. Hardman. And 6.04, the Sol Robinson Generator Project, Ms. Dowling.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is a need for us to be able to install a generator at Solon Robinson Elementary School. Mr. Lasky worked with Gibraltar Design for the project specifications. Advertised those, went out to bid. We were fortunate, we received 5 bidders. The low bid on this, thank you, sorry, particular project was from Sweeney Electric in the amount of $384,750. In the last, at least the last 5 years since I've been here, we've had an increase in outages in terms of frequency and length of time at Solon, which is sort of what drove this to begin with, to provide them with some normalcy, I guess, because it just disrupts the whole day for the students, for the school. And so that's the reason for this here before you today. So the administration would recommend that the contract be awarded to Sweeney Electric in the amount of $384,750 for the installation of generator service at Solon Robinson Elementary School.
Thank you, Ms. Dowling. I'll repeat that recommendation to approve the contract to be awarded from Sweeney Electric in the amount of $384,750 for the installation of a backup generator service for Solon Robinson Elementary School. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Angel and second by Mr. Smith. Any questions or comments from Ms. Dowling?
Do we have generators at any other schools?
3 other buildings.
These generators inside the building or outside?
Excellent.
So no additional structural stuff needed, just fits outside somewhere? Okay, thank you.
What's the reason for the additional outages? Is it just the infrastructure around those schools being?
Solon Robinson has the unfortunate situation of being on the same transformer right over there by the fairgrounds.
Okay,
And there are a ton of power outages in that area. There's a long history of that. Those of you that grew up around like Las Olas and those, there's a ton of power outages. So we've lost food over there, you know, and when they lose it, they tend to lose it for a longer stretch of time. But we would lose things in the coolers and the freezers, and now in this day and age, we're able with a generator like this, where really the kids won't miss a beat because we have Wi-Fi in the buildings, we can keep the Wi-Fi going, as well as for safety purposes, in the main office, the communications won't be lost at all.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Dowling. And Ms. Merlasky, thank you. Information items, superintendent discussion groups. Do we have anything to report this evening from any of our Winfield, Cedar Lake? Crown Point?
Cedar Lake, they're having a big project on Parish Avenue. The construction project on Parish Avenue, which I don't think really impacts our schools, but that might help the flow of traffic in and around the Cedar Lake area getting in off of 231. Other than that, there are just a lot of applications for, you know, building improvements and things like that, but nothing that impacts the schools that I've been following.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Anything else from?
Crown Point RDC, Mayor indicated that they'll be going into another phase of the improvements on 109th near I-65. There'll be another shutdown over there for a period of time. Other than that, business pretty much as usual for the Crown Point RDC. Winfield has not met in several months, so.
Thank you.
Just to add to that, Mr. Warney, looks like June 1st through November 15th is that shutdown? Not that it'll affect my daily travel.
Not at all.
Which is another plus to Karen Toth and how she's handled even getting buses out to Winfield at some point during the day and back, and without disruptions or kids being late to school or.
Except she's retiring.
Well, yes.
She heard about that construction and said, that's it.
Yeah, Scott's gonna be applying for the position. we can improve traffic in Winfield.
That bus safety rating would go down in a heartbeat.
How about we move forward to the, Mr. Hardeman, Chief Academic Officer, would you like to go? Absolutely, well, let's move over to Director of, who'd like to go first? We'll do Director of Elementary Education, Ms. Ramirez.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. I would just like to take this opportunity as we're closing out the school year to really thank our elementary principals. As you saw all of them here tonight, they have really continued to show up every day for our teachers and staff, for our students, and for our families. And they have been creative, dedicated, and I think what is really exciting in kind of finishing out these last 4 days with students and even starting into last week are the opportunities for some kind of normalcy, for celebration that I hope that you're seeing either through their social media, through their newsletters, hearing about as your children maybe are participating. They've made everything successful from iLearn administration, that when we were thinking about iLearn back in October, we thought, how in the world will this work? And they made it work. And I think that's a true testament to everybody pitching in to make sure that kids were in school, that teachers were flexible with kids who might have to miss, kind of creating schedules, recreating schedules. It's been exciting to see DARE graduations happening, kind of grade transition celebrations that have occurred, and the involvement of families. Again, our principals have gone, I'd say, into the technology realm of Zooming families in so that they could feel like they were part of these special moments in our children's lives. So I just want to thank them and thank our students too for continuing to stay steadfast in being good citizens. There's been lots of fundraising that's been going on and has been highlighted in newsletters, and I just think it really just is a true testament that despite all of the negative, that we've stayed positive and have kept our kids learning and growing and working together.
Director of Secondary Education, Mr. Gianfermi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to take this time to share with the board an interesting dilemma we had at the high school and how the middle schools have helped to solve this dilemma. We've talked a lot about graduation pathways and how that's changed quite a bit for our high school students. One of the things that a student can do now is travel through a CTE pathway and graduate that way. Well, one of the things we were running into, in order to really be able to get into that pathway and do it legitimately through your 4 years, you have to kind of do an introductory course, a preparing for college and career course. Well, it was really difficult to fit that into our kids' schedule, so we brought that problem to our principals in the middle schools. And Mrs. Seibert and Mr. Rodriguez, brainstorming with the associate principal at the high school, Ms. Elkar, came up with the idea that really a lot of the standards that are covered in that course are the same things we're doing with our 8th graders in their resource period time. So what we are going to be able to do is offer every 8th grader at Colonel Wheeler and at Taft Middle School a high school course in preparing for college and career, where they will receive a credit, all taking it the first semester of their 8th grade year. A lot of safeguards in there for them to make up things in the second semester in case they missed due to things. This will not take away from the things that are happening in resource class, because you do not have to spend each and every day in the CTE course. We have also worked with the 8th grade teachers, and we'll be building a special buzz course, which will address it towards the 8th grade. And it works really well with what we've always done in 8th grade with the Crossroads Chamber of Commerce and their Chamber Town, when we bring in all those employers and people from the community. So all these things kind of came together, and the collaboration between the middle schools and the high schools will really afford all of our 8th grade students going into high school kind of a head start and a good opportunity, and that's for every one of them. Traditionally, we've had our high ability kids be able to get a high school credit. Now every single 8th grader will be able to start off with that. So it was really great work between the buildings, and we think it's going to be a great opportunity for the 8th grade students moving forward. It is a course that's on the books. That's why we didn't have to send it through for approval. So this is why I wanted to take this time to share, so the board is fully aware of what that opportunity is for 8th graders. And I would be amiss if I didn't finish up with, if anyone picked up the Northwest Indiana Times this Sunday, they noticed that the region's best, Crown Point High School, was voted once again the best high school in the region, which we we all would agree upon, I would say. So that's what I have. Any questions or concerns?
That's a repeat, correct?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gianfermi. Now, Chief Academic Officer, Mr. Hardman. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, we'll do Director of Exceptional Education, Ms. Pascas.
Did you see she was trying to hide, like, maybe I get out of this?
Good evening, Mr. Warney and Board of Trustees. Tonight, you approved the addition of several new positions to our department. We have an elementary coordinator, Andrea Avila, who is currently a sixth grade resource teacher at Wheeler. And our secondary coordinator is coming from another district with over 10 years of experience, 3 master's degrees, a director's license, and then 2 diagnosticians. Dominique Bowman, who's currently a resource teacher at our high school, but has served in a similar role at another district. And then also from another district, someone that had worked here previously in another role. She's coming back to assist with some of our preschool diagnostics, has tons of experience in that area. So we're just looking forward for those folks to help our teachers out, our principals out with case conferences, and just help us as we move forward with our inclusive practice.
Thank you, Ms. Pascas.
Now I'm ready.
All right, Mr. Hardman's ready.
I am ready now.
Sorry, Chief Academic Officer,
Thank you all.
Mr.
Thank you
Hardman.
very much. I'm going to just comment similar to Heather. We did, you approved tonight Ann Vassar as a blended instructional design specialist. She'll join Jeremy Walker and Susan Valentine as a team. This is thanks to you for adding that additional position. Tomorrow we begin interviews for instructional specialists, 4 of them, 2 in the elementary and 2 at the secondary level. So again, I want to thank you for that. We just on the 19th of May, preliminary results came out for iLearn, which is the 3 through 8 testing. It is evidence, first of all, that those students that achieved the proficient score at or above proficient is below what it was in 18-19, which, as we looked at it, the question was how far below would it be? But on a good side of that, there are 4 levels of the proficiency. There's above proficient, there's at proficient, and then there's approaching proficient, and then you have those that are below proficient. When I look at the below proficient number, it's very similar to what we would have seen in 18-19. So when you look at it from a standpoint of approaching, at, and above, it's a matter of, we lost time. You know, we lost time. I think we did lose some opportunity with the distance as we were, adjusting and making those kinds of adjustments. The connections with kids, as we know, wasn't there. So there is a positive in this that the students that were approaching at or above, doesn't seem like we lost as much ground just from that percentage. But when you do see the results that will come out July, when they're finalized, you will see that the at and the above were lower than what. And I cannot give you a comparison as to how that is to other school corporations, because these are preliminary and they're not finalized yet. And in July, we'll be able to compare and see how we compare to other school districts like us and also in the area.
Jim, you say 18-19, isn't that back when we had the one-room schools and we're
18, well, yeah. Thank you, Mr.
Any other comments or questions for
Mr.
Mr. Hardman?
I look forward to seeing the pie charts, bar graphs, all the awesome Excel spreadsheets in the near future.
Okay. For you.
Year and a half and none of those for Mr. Hardman.
About Chief Human Resource Officer, Mr. Akiwa.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. We've had just an aggressive, furious hiring season. I mean, the number of interviews and screenings that we've gone through to onboard just a tremendous amount of skill and talent. It's been amazing. Hats off to all of our administrators for the time they put in. I mean, we've been here till 6, 7 o'clock at night at certain times interviewing folks. And we really do appreciate it. And that's just not teachers, that's support staff. across the board. People have really, really put in the time. But I think as I was writing, it all started with the Cubs game last night. I started to reflect a little bit, and then kind of looking over Karen Toll's comments and Mike Carnahan's comments, I started to think back, like, where were we? I couldn't even watch a Cubs game at this time last year, right? So let's roll that back a little bit farther, like to January, February of last year. We're on the precipice of a change in Crown Point Community School Corporation that we couldn't have even begun to appreciate. And to think we've gone through everything we've been through to today, we're right on the end of closing out a school year, and I don't want to jinx us, but hopefully close it out very successfully. I just want to thank you for all you've done to support us as leaders and working with us so closely and having great conversations to minimize the bump that we've experienced here over the last 16 months. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akiwa. And before we get to 7.07, just so I don't forget, Brooke, last week you had some information items for us, and you don't have this evening, but I just want to acknowledge your work that you've been continuing to do as a director of communication, and thank you for that, and also continue to put the pressure on you to keep it rolling because we all appreciate it quite a bit. So just want to slip that in there as we're going through our directors to acknowledge what you've done. And like we said, summer's coming, but we're looking forward to keep that communication rolling. So thank you. 7.07, we have Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Dowling.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just so you're aware, the first bids packet will be appearing in the newspaper for publication for the first set of bids for site work at Taft Middle School, for the new Taft Middle School. So that'll be happening here soon. I think we anticipate having the award of that coming to the June school board meeting. Those are the things that we're funding out of cash that we're using right now for rainy day. So that's, exciting thing. It's starting to move. And we continue to be in close communication with Gibraltar, Skillman, the town of Winfield, everybody there and in between, because obviously we're on a schedule and there's a lot of moving parts, but everybody's getting it done. So it's just exciting to watch it, move forward. At the same time, there's still a lot of project development happening for the high school, elementary playgrounds, technology. Dr. Terrell and I both are included on those meetings just to keep an eye. Really, I'm the one that's like, wait a minute, how much was that? And Dr. Terrell's like, would you stop it? We need to update the technology in these classrooms. That's kind of like what our conversations go, maybe.
Because our goal, Katie, is to be what? The best.
Okay, we could debate that later about if you need money for that. Anyway.
Really, your
no.
goal isn't to be the best?
No, it's that I don't need money to be the best.
Oh, well, hey, but it helps.
It does help. So those things are moving, and you'll see them because of the way we've staggered this, the projects, the way that they'll come in, they're all stair steps, so it's almost like the first domino falls, and they're just gonna start coming, and then you're gonna be amazed at all the approvals we're asking you for. The last thing that I have with regard to food service, did a wonderful job. I know Mr. Warney, Mr. Angel were at the retirement breakfast that we had for staff, 409 years, I believe, of years of service retiring. It was a great event, but as you approved tonight, the meal prices for next school year, the USDA has extended free breakfast and lunch for students through the end of next school year. So that means all of next school year, all of our students will be eligible for free breakfast and lunch. Our food service department has been working tirelessly to keep up with that, but also I think they're really happy that we have that opportunity, as that's new for us to be able to go community-wide. So if you run across any of them, give them a thanks because they've been working real hard.
Thank you, Ms. Dowling. Other business of the Board of School Trustees? No, let's just skip right past Dr. Terrell, huh? I'm all over the map this evening. All right, I'm sorry. We got Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Terrell. Yeah, I think it's
Thank you. As I reflect back even over this evening, what a great board meeting we had at the beginning to be able to spend all that time recognizing so many. But in looking at our Teacher of the Year, Employee of the Year, Administrator of the Year, Spirit of the Bulldog with Mike Carnahan, it just really emphasizes even more so why we look at our Teacher Appreciation Week as Educator Appreciation Week. I think Mike just epitomizes what that is all about in his approach to this. You know, it's been a challenging year, but it's also the end of a great year. We've had a lot of things that have really continued to move on. You know, Sabrina mentioned that in her comments, Mark mentioned it. You know, as we look at all these different things and the additional supports that we're adding for our kids, for our teachers, for our administrators, where we are with the progress that is being made in the classrooms, it has been a challenging year, and nobody would ever question that. But anytime anybody asks that, I always try to follow up as quickly as I can with, but it's been a great year too. And a lot of great things have happened throughout our district, great examples of those that you've seen come before you. Construction update, as Katie said, we continue to see all these different things that are going on, the design, the input that we're getting from our administrators, from our teachers, from our central office people has just been second to none. And when you talk with Gibraltar and what they're doing, they're so impressed with our district and how quickly we're able to gather information and keep that moving forward. We really appreciate that as well. We are still right on schedule for that July groundbreaking out on Gibson Street and for Taft, and that's what we are really trying to hold Skillman's feet to the fire with that and getting through everything we need to with the town of Winfield to make sure that that happens. Last thing, just we're already getting into our summer activities. Just as quickly as the school year ends, those summer activities begin, from athletics to the different camps that are going on to summer school, and looking forward to that full array of activities that are taking place, but also realizing that there's a lot of challenges that go with this. We have many people who are just ready to take a break from it all. And after the year, the experiences we've been through over the last 12, 16 months, we can understand that and we appreciate that. But again, we look forward to a full slate of summer activities and providing additional opportunities for our students as well.
Thank you, Dr. Terrell. Okay, now we have the other business of the Board of School Trustees.
Just a reminder to everybody, I know Mr. Smith won't forget, but graduation is next Thursday at the high school. So,
Good point. Good call.
did want to make sure the rest of us all did know that, so, 6 o'clock, I believe, starting time.
And we're not going to talk about the rain date because it's going to happen on that day.
I didn't say that. That's all I had.
Anybody else? I'd take the opportunity real quick. I wasn't there myself, but I sure did hear enough in the community to know that the Friday night, the pseudo prom, Friday Night Lights, whatever that was, the activity that was arranged for the students, I heard it was a great success. So I think everyone that was involved in thinking of the concept, putting the concept together, deserves to be commended for their efforts to get that done. It's really nice for the students to have a bit of normalcy as they end their high school career. Anything else? If not, let's move forward to board statements of appreciation and recognition. We could start with Mr. Smith.
Yeah. Thank you. Just want to compliment all of you for today. That was exciting. Honoring all those individuals and well done. I mean, it was really, really well done. So good job to the team in doing that. That was fantastic. And Artie, I appreciate your comments and sentiments about sticking together. I think for all of us at the end of the year, I again just want to compliment each of you and the effort and hard work that you've all put in over the last year and a half or so. I mean, the transition and change is just off the chart that the school corporation's seen in 18 months, and we couldn't foresee it coming, but you have adapted well. I mean, this whole half of the side of the room, I think, has a new job description. Got a new superintendent. On top of it, we had COVID and changes, so I want to compliment our teachers and our students and our parents, and I think it's a privilege to be on this board serving, but what an honor it is to have the opportunity to live in Crown Point. And it's really a blessing, because we do have a community. I feel like all things considered, our community pulled together, and we're very blessed and fortunate for that, where others, maybe that's not the case. And so I think we have a lot to be thankful for, but certainly want to wish you all some time away, and let's hope we get back into some normalcy next year. I want to honor the Best Buddies, the schools that raised funds for the Best Buddies program this last month, raised over $10,000 between the 5 schools. What a great program that is. And in particular, Eisenhower itself raised over $5,000. That's a lot of money for a program. So well done to all the families, the kids, and that's awesome that our school corporation would rally around the Best Buddies program that way. So just want to commend and recognize those schools that did that. And lastly, just want to wish, I know we're going into sectionals and I think regionals and everything else this week. So I wish all those teams that are competing this week the best of luck as they go forward, and hopefully have a lot of success.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Babjack?
I would like to recognize Taft Middle School and congratulate the 6th and 7th grade boys track team on winning conference. It was, I think, God, has it been a week? I think it was like a week ago. The event was held at the Crown Point High School, a very well-organized event. Did take some time, was many hours. My first conference track meet as a parent.
I think I warned you about that a month ago.
You did, and I did not allot enough time for the event, but it went.
I have to live through one of those as a parent.
You do. It should be mandatory. So I just wanted to recognize them, the coaches, and everybody that helped put that event together. Everybody did a great job.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Babjack.
don't really
Mr.
have
Hoffman?
anything new. I want to echo Mr. Smith's comments, and, was kind of enjoyable when we had the breakfast for the employees a couple weeks ago to get to visit the schools and talk with people and be reminded of how great the people are that work in this school corporation and live in this community. So thank you all for that.
Just a couple things here. The Crown Point High School had a special ceremony for our graduates that are going into the military. And it was a wonderful thing, and I'm going to actually make sure those names are put in minutes with Diana Green here. But we have Jonathan Nuzzo for U.S. Army National Guard, Logan Zlayich for U.S. Army National Guard, Joshua Holbrook for the U.S. Air Force, Jeremy Murphy for the U.S. Marine Corps, Madison Edelman, U.S. Marine Corps, Evelyn Colvin for the U.S. Army, Sebastian Oshbach for the U.S. Army West Point Military Academy. So congratulations to all those students, and for Russ and the staff at the high school for putting that on, and thank you for serving our country moving forward to those individuals. We greatly appreciate it. Because I'm such a math geek sometimes, after I heard Mr. Kiwa mention about all the changes, I'm remiss to just think of what's transpired, and it is actually the last 465 days since us as a board decided that we're going to head a different direction with the school corporation. And in those 465 days, within 30 days of making that change and getting help from Mr. Hardman, Mr. Akiwa, Mr. Gianfermi to make sure we transitioned, COVID hit. And so we throw 3 people into probably a position they didn't think we're going to be in on February 12th. And by March, whatever it was, 15th or something, we were in full pandemic mode. So everybody else that fit into that as well, Ms. Dowling was obviously part of the cabinet, and our other 2 new members were still part of the school corporation and dealing with their own individual aspect of that. And to think of where we've now come, knock on wood, finishing the school year, and to say that it was a success would be an understatement, in my opinion, as a now no longer parent of a Crown Point school, but as a citizen representative on a school. Wow, just wow. I mean, to think of it. And our teachers deserve credit. I bet they're our union. We want to make sure we pass that along to them as well. Diana Green, behind the scenes of all this, and in a role where trying to keep 5 board members in line and making sure they don't miss meetings, and then dealing with that turmoil. Thank you, Diana, for making sure we didn't miss any of that or a deadline or whatever might transition. So we're grateful to have Dr. Terrell on board and moving this forward. Hopefully, and we're gonna keep our fingers crossed and pray to wherever you need to pray to, that starting in August, we are in full board, regular school mode and getting our students back to where they belong and what they deserve as a regular school year. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Angel. I'd like to also go to the retirement breakfast, not so much the event was excellent, the food was excellent, the coordination of it all. Thanking Lori for what she, does to put it together. And I just thought that as you sit there and, we can't think of how many individuals, but we know it's about 409 years of service. What was really neat was to listen to them be spoken about, as each one of and we had second grade teachers, third grade teachers, lifelong. We had people who were subs in this district and that district. And, but at the end of the day, just hearing the stories and how proud all of those individuals should be to have done what they've done for the community, not just the school that they're in, but the community around them is pretty impressive. I had another one other thought. Mr. Angel, you said something I wanted to piggyback you, but I'm sorry.
That'd be a first.
Yeah, I know. Something's going on. This is
How old are
sleepers.
those 3 kids, Dave?
Yeah, he's little guys too, and he's a handful. No, but so I guess that'd be it for me. Thank you to everybody, and I hope we look forward to an enjoyable summer. And I will say that, the emails have come across every now and then to the board asking for the plan. And part of me reaching out or mentioning Ms. Allen earlier, Brooke, as just the communication is something we need to continue to work on. I know what the last, my other thought, I think you go back to, for me, as someone grew up from Crown Point, Scott Badger, when's the first time you remember to chant "We Are CP"? What's your first memory?
The first time I remember it was 1984 when the girls
Exactly what I was
state
thinking.
champion-
Exactly what I was thinking. The "We Are CP" chant. And my memory goes back to the Lady Bulldogs winning the state championships, and Mr. Kiwa knows that all too well, back to back. And I remember seeing the videos of it, where "We Are CP." And I think something as a board and cabinet and all of us, it means a lot to us when you hear that "We Are CP." And we don't want to lose sight of "We Are CP." We need to stay focused. And this past year has proven that we can do that. We can stay together as a team, a community, as buildings. And I think it's just really important that we all think it's important that we keep that focus moving forward, that we don't get off on islands, and that we're going to be always stronger together. So that was the other thought, is just that "We Are CP" and continue to go down that road is important to all of us, and everyone's doing a great job. So, okay, is it for me? Anybody else? Any other comments before we look for a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hoffman and second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Well, you called it.